The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood Redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, Breaking Into. Featuring in-depth interviews with today's most influential entertainment figures, highlighting their tips, tricks, and techniques on breaking into the entertainment industry.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, Breaking Into.
Hey everybody, welcome to Breaking Into. I am your host, Derrial Christon, and here joining me is the beautiful Jessica King.
Hello, hello.
Our very special guest today is the go-to dentist in Hollywood. He has transformed the smiles of celebrities such as Tyra Banks, to Nene Leakes, to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Dr. Saleh is with us today. How you doing, Sam?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
Good.
You look very dapper, I must say.
Thank you so much. I thought I'd wear a purple tie, and I didn't realize that it's going to fit into your set over here. So
actually, it works. It works very well.
It did work, didn't it?
You got the memo.
the sub message,
right?
Well, thank you again for joining us. Now, I know you're from London, and you went to King's College in London.
I did. That's where I went to dental school.
Dental school. Now, at that time, did you know you wanted to have a future in working with celebrities in Hollywood growing up?
Do you know, I always knew that I was going to do something different with the career that I chose to go into. But at that early stage, I wasn't exactly sure where it was going to go to in terms of whether it was going to be, you know, celebrities or who it was going to be. I just knew that I was going to be in a niche market. And a lot of it had to do with some of the work experience that I did before I chose to go into dentistry. So, you know, I was fortunate enough to meet a magnificent dentist in London, and he had a very interesting group of patients. You know, he was treating a lot of the British aristocracy and the royal family and things like that. And so I definitely realized that I wanted to be, you know, working with a special clientele. I didn't really know whether celebrities were the way that I was going to go.
So that being said, what exactly was it that brought you out to Hollywood?
Well, as a child, my mother would always bring us out to Los Angeles because her family were here. So, you know, we'd spend our summer holidays in sunny Los Angeles, and
nice.
I would love it. I really would. I would think, wow, this is such a perfect place to live, and I'd love to live here one day. And so after I finished dental school, in London, I worked for about 3 or 4 years, and an opportunity presented itself for me to come to LA. And so what I did was I said to myself, I'll go there for a year and I'll try it out, and I'll probably want to come back. And a year went on to 2 years and 3 years, and a little over 10 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah. You never looked back.
I never looked back, yeah. I never
The
did.
city just kind of takes you in.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, it's the ease of life, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Can't beat the weather.
You can't. You definitely can't. I mean, as a Londoner, I have to say, no matter how, I think even if I'll be here for 50 years, it'll always be new for me, because having had that, you know, that upbringing in London where you always have gloomy weather,
right?
Like literally 90% of the year is either cold or gloomy, and here it's, you know, it's the opposite.
That's true. And then since you work with so many different celebrities, the word celebrity is, it seems like it's kind of crossed now with, there's a lot of Brits here, and then a lot of the Americans have gone to London.
Yeah.
What is the difference to you of like kind of like the celebrity environment in the States versus in London?
Well, I have to say that when I was living in London, this was before the time of, you know, how important social media was and reality television, and I think that's kind of given birth to this really big word of celebrity.
Yeah.
10 years ago in England, you know, the same people that were famous here were, you know, who people found famous in London. There really wasn't, you know, hundreds and hundreds like there are today.
Right.
So it was a similar concept. I have to say that celebrity maybe didn't have as big of a pull in London. You know, if you were offering services, and, you know, Tyra Banks person, you know, someone of that caliber was to come in and want the services, you would find your typical Londoner would care less. You know, they'd say, you know, sit in the chair, you're just as important as, you know, Joe Bloggs who came in here. Yeah. But I think what's happened in the last 10 years with the advent of reality television and the fact that social media has really exploded and become such a huge phenomenon, it's given celebrities and it's created celebrities this enormous platform. So now, you know, they'll tell people, you know, what they're doing on a daily basis. So they'll let them know who their dentist is. They'll let them know who their, you know, their hairdresser is, or where they had lunch, or, you know, what color their underwear is, or whatever it is. And so now, because they have these, you know, humongous followings, like some of them have millions and millions of people checking into them. So now this is a very important platform. And so celebrity, whether we like it or not, has become an important commodity for any industry that you're in and anywhere in the world, quite frankly, because now these are your ambassadors.
Right. Well, tell us a little bit about what exactly it is that made you want to transform smiles and teeth. Like, what fascinated you about dental hygiene?
Oh gosh. Well, I do a bit more than dental hygiene. Really, if you think about it, you know, the smile, you know, your face is quite an important part of your body, isn't it? You know, the first thing that, you know, anyone sees when they see you is, you know, they'll look into your eyes, and the next, you know, area to be polite to look at would be the smile. So these are really, really important aspects of a person's, you know, bodily features, if you were. And if you look carefully and kind of are aware of people who are not happy with their smile, or they have missing teeth, or their teeth are not the right color, or they're crooked, you'll notice that their whole demeanor will change. Like, if imagine me sitting here and I'm talking like this, and hello, how are you? My name is Sam. You know, I look like a different person. I'm acting a different way, you know, and I'm not being the best person that I can be, am I? I'm kind of being somewhat peculiar and abnormal. So to be able to take somebody out of that state and, you know, and literally transform them and transform their lives and give them the confidence back to act the way, you know, that they would want to and get the maximum out of their life. I mean, that's really where the money is for me. That's what gives me the satisfaction to do what I do.
Right.
In your opinion, I mean, Hollywood is obviously about the look and who's the best looking a lot of times, who gets certain roles.
Yes.
What do you, in your opinion, what's the overall importance of having the perfect smile as far as helping an actor get their ultimate job?
Well, it all depends on the role, really. You know, you've got some. I've done some actors who, you know, we've given them a really, you know, beautiful smile and they look fantastic and it really fits in with their features, and, you know, and they might be taking a role as a pirate, and, you know, when they go into costume design, they're going to have to slap on, you know, brown stuff on their teeth and things like that. So really, it all depends on the role. I think where their smile is really important is the way that I said. It's coming back and giving them back the confidence that they have within themselves. Because I think a lot that comes with acting and being in front of the camera is confidence. You know, confidence makes you look more attractive. I think that's something that we can all, you know, recognize now. That's what makes, you know, somebody jump out at you. You could be, you know, the most good-looking man in the world, but if you sit in the corner and you don't get up and interact, then you're not going to find yourself a girlfriend. You know, you're not going to get married, and that's just the way it is. So I think where it comes in with acting as well is that if they did have something, you know, that they personally found was holding them back. So if there was an issue with their teeth that was holding them back, and then you give them that, now they have confidence, then basically they can do whatever they want and take whatever roles they want.
Have you ever worked with anyone that didn't get the role or wasn't booking jobs because of their smile particularly, or because of their teeth?
I did, actually. I've had that on many occasions. I have a lot of actors and actresses who do commercial work, and in particular I remember there was this girl, very pretty, and she would constantly go for auditions to do I think she wanted to do Colgate and Budweiser and things like that. Apparently those jobs pay a lot of money. And, you know, really, really very pretty girl, great smile, but on her left side she had about 3 teeth that just kind of, they weren't nice, to put it nicely. So everything else looked good, and she would tell me that she would always go to castings,
as long as she stays on the right.
And she would be like, "Hi, my name." And obviously, you know, the people, the casting directors or whatever, they obviously, you know, caught onto it that she, you know, she couldn't get the role for these important positions where the smile was key. So I do remember she came in, you know, we fixed those teeth, and she literally immediately booked this huge Colgate campaign, which I think it's still up there on billboards and things like that. So she sent us,
awesome.
she was really grateful.
I hope you got a percentage of that.
I didn't actually. I didn't.
We mentioned earlier that you work with so many different people, and Tyra Banks was one of the names that was mentioned. And I know when she had her talk show, you were a commentator on the show. How did you go about getting that position for her show?
Well, actually, I knew Tyra as a patient before her show came out. So, you know, I was treating her for a while, and you know, I have to say she's really, really quite lovely.
Yeah.
You know, out of all the celebrities and all the rest of it, everyone always asks me, you know, how is so and so and how is so and so. But I can honestly, hand on my heart, say that you know, Tyra Banks is by far one of my favorite in terms of being just such a wonderful, grounded human being. And so she, you know, she was great. She came to the office, and one day one of her producers contacted me and said that, you know, Tyra's actually doing a show, and she wants you to, well, the show is about empowering women and changing their lives, and there will be women who have been set back in their lives because of issues or problems that they've had with their teeth, and would you be willing to help these women and change their lives on the show? And you know, and here I am, Mr. I like to change people's lives. So it was obviously a perfect marriage, and so that's how that came about.
That's awesome. For the aspiring dentist out there who wants to follow your footsteps and work with celebrities, what do you suggest they do in order to build such an A-list clientele?
Well, you have to be good. You have to be good at what you do. You know, in our line of work, you know, people are not going to come to you because you have an English accent, or you know.
Although it helps.
I was going to say, I think it helps.
But ultimately, they want to come to you because you're the best, and you can give them what they want. So I you know, I get this question quite a lot because I lecture at UCLA, so I'm seeing the students there, and they're always asking me this question. And what I say is, you know, really thrive to be really good, be the best. You know, if you're passionate about any part of dentistry, whether it's cosmetic or any other part of dentistry that you want to go into, really strive for perfection and be the best at it. And when you do that, then the rest will really all fall into place, because those people and you know, and that life will come to you.
Nice.
And then for aspiring dentists, you know, a lot of times they don't know where to go to meet people like yourself who can give them key advice. Just like you said, you go to different colleges and universities to speak to them. What would you suggest to someone who is aspiring to look at or go online to find out more people like yourself who can help them and answer any questions that they may have?
Well, again, you know, I alluded to this earlier. I think social media has really exploded, and you know, in some ways, you know, it's probably intrusive of people's lives, but it does have a positive fact that comes into it as well, because you can choose, you know. I have to say I have an Instagram account myself, a personal one and also one for the office. And on this, you know, we share, you know, I share my day-to-day activities, whether it's, you know, what I'm doing with my family or what I'm doing, you know, extracurricular activities or what I'm doing at the office or, you know, coming here to meet you fine people. So I think this is actually a great way for people to find inspiration. And I have to say, I even do it myself. You know, if I have time, I'll sometimes go on and, you know, if there is a project that I'm, you know, doing, if there's something I'm doing in the house, for example, you know, I'll be like, well, I wonder what so-and-so did. And, you know, and you know, today we do have that access to be able to get in and follow, you know, somebody else's footsteps. So I definitely feel that, you know, social media is one way of doing it. You know, going and attending lectures is also another fantastic way of hearing somebody's story and hearing, you know, what they have to say about a specific aspect that they're interested in as well.
And could you tell us a little bit more about Operation Smile?
Yeah, so Operation Smile is a charitable association which is basically, it's set up to help children who have cleft lip and palate. So this is a terrible congenital abnormality that children are born with, and it can, you know, if it's left unattended, it will lead to, you know, all kinds of issues and trials and tribulations into adult life. But surgically, this can actually be treated at an early age, and the children will grow into fully functional adults who can basically use full use of their mouth and lips very easily. And so this is an organization that goes into remote areas where, you know, these surgical procedures are not readily available, and they offer this to these children, and therefore, you know, give back the, you know, the opportunity for these children to live a normal life.
Wow.
It's so amazing. Well, you know, there's a lot of celebrities out there who are actually known for their imperfect smiles. Like
Yes, yeah.
Michael Strahan, Joy Style.
He put up the cross.
Do you see a lot of patients who kind of pride themselves in the imperfect
I
smile?
do, and I have to say, you know, I have a very European philosophy on aesthetics. I don't subscribe to what I like to call plastic fantastic, which is what I found was really prevalent in America, you know, 5, 6, 10 years ago when I first started practicing here. And I'm very happy to say that, you know, the American public on the whole are kind of coming away from that. You know, people don't come in requesting veneers that look like, you know, they're chippings off of a toilet seat. They, you know, they want it to be more natural. They want to see the translucencies. And so this is the, you know, this is the angle that I always feel is important, that, you know, when somebody smiles, that smile has really got to be part of the face, and it can never overpower the face. Because once it overpowers the face, then everyone knows that you've had your teeth done. In my opinion, the worst compliment that anyone could give me after I've done their teeth is to say, "Oh yeah, everybody told me, you know, you got your teeth done, didn't you?" And that to me means that everyone was able to notice that those teeth did not belong in your face.
Yeah.
So when it comes to imperfections, I have to say that I am a fan. I feel that, you know, sometimes imperfections will work. You know, I had a lady who was, you know, an important person from a very prominent family, and wanted to improve her teeth and the color and all the rest of it. Pretty, you know, beautiful woman, but didn't have a good nose at all. Like, this nose was, you know,
Overpowered her face.
very, very off. And, you know, she wanted to do some things with her teeth, which if you just looked at her teeth by themselves, what she wanted, it would be great. But because we were working with this, you know, this
nose.
yeah, I mean,
I can tell by your
I'll just-
expression.
I'll just
How
call
could you
it-
put it nicely?
I'll just call it epic. She had an epic nose. And so, you know, I had to basically convince her, because of the fact that we're limited with, you know, with what's going on. We really ought to introduce some imperfections in the teeth. Otherwise, you're going to have, you know, perfect smile, and then boom, this nose is really going to pop out.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I mean, I do think that, you know, things don't always have to be perfect. When it comes to spaces in particular, I think when we're younger, we can pull off spaces much better than we can when we get older. Because as a younger person, it looks quirky, it's sexy, it's cool. But sometimes when the age, you know, the face starts showing signs of age, and, you know, we start seeing wrinkles and things are, you know, heading in a southward position, the addition of having a space between the tooth can just make the whole look very tired.
Yeah.
And I generally advise, you know, closing spaces and correcting that in my more mature patients.
I love how he's so politically correct as well.
Go a little south.
Little south, a little change in the face, you get a little older. With so much competition in this industry, and there's always ever-changing processes on how to improve teeth, what are some of the ways that you keep current and just stay up to float on what's trending right now? What is the new thing that you need to use to help with your industry?
Oh, yes. I mean, I would say that I attribute 80% of my success to the fact that I stay abreast of technology. Today, as you said, we're living in a society where technology is everything. You know, we have so much capabilities even with our phones. You know, I have patients coming in, Googling, you know, everything they have and their diagnosis and exactly what materials they have to use, all because they have that power in their telephone right there. So, as a physician, as a provider, you really ought to, you know, be able to stay ahead of the game, you know, to be able to keep up with the, you know, the demands that our patients have today. You know, one of the things that I'm proud to be a spokesman for is the Plan Mecca. We have this device in the office, which basically we're able to take the tooth. We scan the tooth digitally. So I don't know whether you know, the last time you went to the dentist, if you ever needed to take an impression of a mold of your mouth, and they put the gooey stuff in, and it kind of gets everywhere, and we get gagging, and nobody likes it. So this is effectively, in today's, you know, today's digital dentistry or modern dentistry, or a doctor who's staying abreast of what's going on, that is really something that's becoming obsolete.
Oh, wow.
So today we're able to scan the tooth digitally. So that's basically taking thousands of photos of the preparation of the tooth, which will then come up on a screen. And then from that screen, we can actually design the restoration digitally. So making the tooth, changing the form, making it exactly what we need to do. And then we send that as a digital file to a mill, which is in the office. And then the mill will take a block of porcelain and shave it down to the exact specifications that we put in. And there you will have your restoration, be it a crown, a bridge, porcelain veneer. And then we're able to deliver that in the patient's mouth all on the same day.
And this only takes place in your office?
Well, we're one of the first ones to basically have introduced this in Beverly Hills. And as I said, I'm actually a spokesperson for the company.
Wow.
It's amazing.
I know those dental molds way too well.
Me too.
So right, exactly.
I'm glad to hear
They're bringing back memories that I don't want to remember.
Yes,
Hours later, I'd be at home. I'd still be picking out
the bits of the goo and all the rest of it. Yeah, it's actually funny because I was just in Dallas this week, and I was at lunch with the engineers who came up with this technology. And it's amazing how they don't come from a dental background, but they're just they have they were able to come up with this application, and they were initially using this technology that they'd patented and come up with to apply it to the world of entertainment, because they were going to use scanners to be able to make I think it's homes or whatever on the miniature houses that they have to build into the screens that they make into films and all that, and that didn't go so well in the entertainment business, so they got picked up in dental. So it's interesting to see how the application goes. Started off with the entertainment industry and it ended in the world of dentistry.
Dentistry.
Well, these days there's so many crazy remedies for dental work and keeping your teeth clean and things like that. Things that you wouldn't even expect. Coconut oil, muddled strawberries. What are some of the craziest remedies that you've used or recommended to treat your patients?
Well, my mother is one of my patients. Yes, I mean, you mentioned a few of them yourself. Coconut oil has actually been around from thousands of years ago. So, sometimes you'll have your granny or someone will tell you something and you'll think it doesn't make any sense, but you'll be surprised how some of these old housewives' tales can actually work. And coconut oil contains special chemicals within it which pull the bacteria. So the technique is called oil pulling, and the reason coconut oil is advised is because it has very potent chemicals in it which work very well against specific bacteria that grow inside the mouth. So this is something that I will routinely advise to patients who have got issues with their gums and don't respond well to normal medicated mouthwashes, because sometimes things that are heavily medicated and come out of a bottle have all kinds of additional chemicals that sometimes bodies who are very sensitive will react to. So it is nice to be able to go the natural route, and coconut oil is one of the ways that if you've got bleeding gums, if you've got bad breath, if you've got issues where you're prone to getting a lot of decay, then oil pulling is definitely something that I would recommend. Yes.
And what are some of the ways that you get these messages out to people to take care of their teeth? I'm sure social media is heavily involved with this, but what are some of the other methods that you use?
It is, as you said, social media. We do have a blog on our website. So I constantly, whenever I'm not doing anything, my wife is always complaining because she's like, "Are you on that blog again? What are you blogging about today?" And and I just think it's a marvelous way of getting the message across, because today with the way the search engines go, that you'll type it in and these things can come up very easily. And then of course coming and meeting you fine people and telling you and your viewers is another way, obviously, of getting messages like this across.
So please tell us, what is the #1 secret to getting that perfect red carpet smile?
Oh, it's coming to see me, obviously.
Well, there you go.
It's really, it all boils down to looking after your teeth well. So, you've got to have a foundation. So you've got to start somewhere. I always say that, you know, your teeth, and if you're planning on working on your teeth, then look at it like a project. Look at it like a remodel of a house, for example. You're not going to build your house on quicksand, so you want to have a good foundation, and the only way you can do that is start with the basics. So at the very least, you know, floss your teeth once a day, brush twice a day, you know, and try and cut your sweeties to a minimum, because that's another problem. And then after that, there's all kinds of enhancements that you can do. I think one of the things to tell people as well is, you know, don't get overwhelmed. You know, you don't think that if you want to have an advancement, you know, you're going to have to go to the dentist and you're going to have to sell your right arm to be able to afford it and things like that, because you'll be very surprised. You know, I've had patients where we've just put a single veneer in their mouth, and that's really changed the entire look of their smile, because that was really the only offending tooth. That was the only tooth that didn't really have harmony with the rest of their teeth.
Right.
So, you know, brush your teeth, come and see me, and we'll take care of it.
And what do you find the biggest challenges of being a dentist?
Challenges of being dentist. I mean, personally, I have OCD, you know, to the max, you know, whether it's in my home life or my business life. I like things done a certain way. And I think when you're such a perfectionist, you end up being really, really tough on yourself. So I would say that I'm my own hardest critique. And that's probably what I find, you know, the most difficult, is keeping up to my own high expectations.
I think that's a lot of us too.
Yeah.
How important is it to have a mentor or someone to guide you through this industry?
Oh, it's hugely important. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be here, you know, being a dentist if I hadn't met Norman Mills in London. He, you know, there's a lot of negative connotations when you say dentist. It's not really a typical job that, you know, you'll have children going around saying, oh, I've always wanted to be a dentist, because, you know, patients can sometimes be afraid of going to the dentist. It's not really generally seen as something that's terribly glamorous, you know, and it's all kinds of things that I didn't think my personality were. And then, like I said, I met Norman Mills, and he was like, you know, this James Bond dentist, and he had this really cool office, and his patients were amazing, and, you know, and everyone loved him, and everyone was so appreciative of what he did. And I thought to myself, gosh, this is a perfect job. You know, you really have, it's, you know, and so by seeing him and seeing the way he did it, that was a real huge inspiration to me. So I would say, you know, and I hope to be a mentor, you know, for people out there, you know, to come as well, because that would be my way of giving back. The way Norman Mills was able to offer a glimpse into his life to me.
So before you met him, dentistry wasn't even on the table for you?
It really wasn't. I actually wanted to go into law.
Oh, wow.
And then you obviously have a thriving dentist career going on right now. What would you like to conquer maybe next in your career?
Well, the way that I think, you know, the type of work I do is going on more of an international level. In the past, I've been fortunate enough to have a lot of people, you know, travel from all around the world to come and see me. But I think the next step in my career is to join a more concierge service, in which I would like to basically set up satellites around the world that I would actually travel to and see patients on more of an international basis. So that's something that, you know, I'm in the midst of talks about, and that's something that I like to do more of.
Wow.
Well, that's pretty
amazing.
exciting.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to travel with you and go there. We have a couple, we're going to wrap up, but we have a couple fun questions for you, just some facts about you that we like to learn. Starting off, who has been, you kind of mentioned this before, but who's been your favorite celebrity to work with?
I really have to say Tyra Banks, and I'll give you an example of, you know, how much I admire this woman. You know, she'd come in, and, you know, she'd always be so humble and sweet. You know, we've got people who are really not as successful as her, and they'll have, you know, 15 assistants just to schedule a cleaning appointment, and they'll come in with a whole entourage and all the rest of it. And she'll normally just, you know, come in all by herself, you know, not really wearing any makeup, and just being a marvelous person. And then, you know, one day we were on set and we were doing photos together, and and she was in her whole regalia, and she's a very tall woman, and she's wearing the high heels and all the rest of it. And I said, Tyra, you're really making me look like a dwarf today, because I was like looking up at her, and right away she kicked off her heels, and then she she stood lower below me, and and took the photo like that. And I thought, how lovely, for her to to do that, as kind of a gesture, like that's all right. So
no ego.
Yeah, no ego whatsoever, and very humble, and,
just real.
Yeah, she is. She's really is very beautiful inside and out.
What is your favorite TV show to watch?
I have to say that I'm an addict of all the shows on Bravo.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I really do like them all. And I have to say $1 Million Listing is a big favorite of mine.
And you were on that show as well.
I was actually, yes.
I was actually just watching it when I was getting ready today. I was catching up on my $1 Million Listing. Do you find yourself looking at people's teeth when you watch TV? Are you constantly like, oh man, if he would just come to me?
I mean, yeah, unfortunately, it does go with the job. Yes.
And with that, who do you think has the best smile in the industry?
I mean, there's a lot of great smiles out there right now.
Or someone who stands out among the rest. Like when you see them, even if you haven't done their work, you see them, you're like, wow, that's a powerful smile.
Right. I mean, I saw a big transformation when I did Nene Leakes' teeth. Yeah. And, I have to say, she's a different woman from the woman that I met when she was, kind of, the Real Housewives was beginning to become important, but it wasn't really so important. So, she's really got a very, very big personality, this woman.
Yeah.
Yes, she does.
And she's a lot of fun and very, 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 very truly entertaining person. She'd come to the office and I couldn't work. I mean, I'd be crying of laughter because she would just come out with this, hysterical stuff that you would think is scripted, but it's not. I mean, if anything, I would say she's funnier off than she is on camera.
Yeah.
So she's really, and so I think she really does have a magnificent smile, and she comes across really, really well on television. And I've really seen a huge transformation in this woman in every way.
Yeah.
Well, here's a tough question. What is going to be your Halloween costume this year?
That's probably the hardest question you asked me today. You kept the hardest one for last. I have to say this year is our first real Halloween with our little girl, because she's a year and 4 months. So last year she was kind of too small to do anything with. So I think it'll just have to be something fun and quirky that involves her. I might have to wear a costume that just has a pouch that she can stick out.
My mom said that I should be a kangaroo so I could just carry my baby around.
That's smart.
That's
That's
a good
smart.
one. That's a really good one.
Well, Dr. Sam, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on today.
Thank you.
Where can fans find you on all the social media outlets, as you were kind of mentioning earlier, if they want to?
Yes, I have. There's the office Instagram, which is ORA Dentistry Spa, so ORA Dentistry Spa, and then there's my own one, which is Dr. Sam Saleh.
Well, thank you again. And Jessica, where can we find you?
Find me on Twitter at I am Jessica King, and on Instagram at JessClem, KLEM.
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Derrial Christon. And thank you for tuning in to Breaking Into. We will see you next time.
From producers Maria Menounos, Derrial Christon, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.